Okay, Sagittarius, here's your reading for the spring of 2025. That's a reboot here. So we'll get started here with the Gaia deck. We're going to get right into things. The first card that we have for you, Sagittarius, for your spirituality reading is the Ten of Earth. Yeah. I'm getting the first thing that that's visually notable here is the removal of a mask. I feel like we're coming into our truth self, finally, is what they said. Finally, we're doing this. It's like we've been nudged universally to do so. That means from our instinct, wanting to come clean with who we are, finally, right? We might have been holding things back knowingly, but yet unknown of the magnitude it could have a change in our life, that kind of thing. I don't know if I worded that right. Basically, not knowing the change it could make in our life so profoundly is why we really didn't make the change earlier. But we're kind of taking a leap of faith here, is the sense they're giving me. And because of that, the action itself of going in this direction, whatever that may be, again, removing that which is fake or artificial is the word they gave me. A sense of artificial self that has been in the forefront for the longest period here. We're finally removing that, dropping it, or diffusing it, coming to the reality that we needed something to change here, having to do with our own core values and self and whatnot. So that's good, because that's where they need you to be to make the right decisions for your life. So it seems like we're in the right frequency here. So the next card that we have for you, and again, that's past energy, so we may have already done this and are moving forward still. Now, the next card we have is healing. What do you know? Yeah, huge. This is good, because this is the trajectory. We realize that we got some kind of false front here, and we may have actually invested in healing properties. How would I say that? We're investing in our emotional centers, probably. This may be because they're giving me history. History has a way of repeating itself, and we realize this, and now we're dissecting it. I think we were doing it to get rid of this looping cycle that we're in. But in the meantime, we come across a lot of healing material. I feel like we're going through that now. I feel like we're starting to understand why we had this false sense of self, like this persona that we put forward. I feel like we're getting underneath things here and realizing, well, I did this to cover this, right? And I did that to hide this, and da-da-da. So we're deciding, the sense they're giving me anyway, is we're deciding that all this stuff is just artificial. We don't need it any longer, because we've evolved into either a maturity, system here, or just evolved past the point of needing to harbor, needing to hide behind these things, whatever they were. Again, that'll be different for everybody. So yeah, it's good. Whenever you tap into healing, man, that's an evolution in itself, right? Because it releases things from you to give you more light. Anything that you need to heal, it releases that. So as we move into the future here from the Gaia deck, we get the Four of Fire. So we have our eyes set on something here. The last time we had this was in the Aquarius reading. I don't feel it as intensely here, but it is nonetheless focusing on what we want to gain in our future. I feel like what we've healed from here is something that actually was blocking us. We didn't realize, and we may still not realize until we get beyond it and into the new, fresh energy of releasing all of this artificial self. I don't think we realize how much it was holding us back, is the sense they're giving me. And now, this healing is creating a field here where we are back in our element. We may have been slowed right down to a crawl in order, and usually the universe will do that to you. They'll put you in a scenario where you can gain the tools, where you can see clearly. And I feel like we had to slow right down in order to see clearly, because we got to start with the earth element. There's a lot of earth elements in this healing card as we move into the the 11 and the 10 and 11, that's a progression, in numerical value. So that, that's what they're saying is we are progressing here. We're healing and we're coming out of it. We do have our sights set on some kind of goal here that we want. And that is staying in focus. Now, it's interesting to me when you look back to the 10, they're showing me a lot of stuff here with this earth card, because that's where we came from. That's our past. There's a deer in kind of like headlights, right? There's kind of like shock. So we might have had something shocking come upon us in order to get us to see things clearly. And not only that, they're showing me the correlation between this woman's red hair and the future red energy that we go into, which is our fire element. So we've always had that fire within, but now we're going to go outward full-fledged, because look at the difference between the 10 of earth and the 4 of fire. Suddenly we're all fire, right? So we may be taking action on things here that are, how would you say, more within our element. So anyway, is the progression here in taking action. Whenever I see fire, I correlate it to action taking. What is that element based on? Fire takes action, it chews things up, right? So that's the thing, is I'm going to go forward. I just slow myself down, heal from some things. Now I can go forward and attack things the way that I want to do, and be in the universe. Not only that, I'm with a stronger core as I do this. I'm more myself than I ever have been, and I didn't realize I wasn't myself in the past, is kind of the sense. Okay. So as we move on to the chakra cards, on top of that 10 of earth, again, there's a renewal of self is really what I'm getting. From the inner core, we're more who we are, and we're going to go outward more passionately and strongly in that energy. So the chakra card we get there is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is it can be about people outside of you that are connected to some kind of religion or authority, an authority figure that we take high respect of and high guidance from. We could have had someone in our life here in this way, someone that we put in high esteem that was helping us along the way here. And I feel like really what it was is they kind of saw through the veneer that we had on, and they saw the true me, the true you, and they helped you come clean in that energy, is the sense. This could be a priest or someone of religion. They really, they understood you without all the bells and whistles. And what I mean by that is, like, there was a lot of fluff to this person that I'm picking up on, the energy that I get here for Sagittarius. There was a lot of stuff we put on, like if you're talking about clothing, it'd be layers and layers of clothing, because we didn't want anybody to see what we're truly wearing. Like our true heart, our true core, where we're coming, just for some reason we don't want anybody to see that. And then this person, suddenly we come across this person, they know exactly what we're wearing, the colors, how it fits, da-da-da. They knew everything that there was in the center core of who we are. I did shut that off. I shut her down. Man, I'm telling you, there's always a way. The last few readings, I did, okay? I put headphone jack. I put a headphone jack in there so that if it did beep, it would be so low that nobody would hear it. And I made sure to shut it off again. What we're talking about? Removing the layers. The layers of shit that you had between you and your universe. And it actually was a block, but we didn't realize it's a block until we started stripping it away. And there's a person here that we put in high esteem that saw right through to the core of who we are. And this has something to do with our change. Okay, as we go forward. Man, I'm gonna have to shut it off or put it in another room, one of the two, okay? I had confidence that when I shut it down, it's going to shut it down. But yet I've had 3 episodes here where it just comes through anyway. I don't care. I'm coming through. Beep, beep. It's just, and maybe that's what they're trying to say as well. Because I always got to factor it into the reading somehow. And what's going on here is no matter how hard we try to shut something down, it's going to come through the way it's meant to. And the core of your being is meant to come into the universal flow at this time. And no matter how much you want to shut it down, that's not what's meant to happen for your highest good and all of those around you. That's not what's meant. So here we go. Now, this is our past energy. Now, as we move into the present, we are in healing. There are things that were blocking us. We didn't realize we're coming through those things. I don't know that we've accomplished like the majority of it, but at least we're getting underneath some stuff, lifting rocks and getting things cleared out is what I get here. Now, on top of the healing card, the chakra card we have is the 9 of Cups. Wishes and fulfillment. Yeah, because we're trying to make our wishes and hopes and dreams fulfilled. We got one big cup in the middle, and we want to make sure that our life is fulfilling. And this is maybe why we knew we weren't fulfilled in the past, but we didn't know we had to heal in order to really, truly get underneath things. There's just some kind of a system there that was running that is no longer, is the sense I'm getting. So something in our field here that we changed about ourselves in order to free us up and get into a more free-flowing energy where suddenly all of our hopes and dreams are not something that is too far gone. How do I say that? I'm not saying that right. It seems within reach, whereas in the past it just seems so out of reach that I can't even achieve it. And now that we're on our way to healing, we feel like we might even be able to get these things. Like they're not so far out of whack. They're not so far. Why was I thinking? Blah, blah, blah. But again, healing does wondrous things. We don't give it enough credit. So this is right now is kind of just an energy field we're tapping into. We feel like we want to gain our hopes and dreams in the future. I feel like, look at the same energy, that orange color leads us into that 4 of fire, and that's going after it. Now we're going to go after it, take action. Okay. In the future, what's the chakra card? We have the Justice card. Okay. Again, depending where you're at here, karma point wise. Now, if we're in healing, if and when we're in healing, there's always a sense of like chewing away at things. A lot of people are finishing up their karma at this time. They're realizing, balancing things out, leaving things that no longer serve, this kind of stuff. Now, if this is the case here, there might have been some heavy situations here where we had to overcome some emotional damage, is the word they gave me, in order to focus clearly on what we truly want. There was something in the emotional center here just solely out of whack. And we have been able to get back on track with that, is the sense. Like we kind of got warped in our emotional center here somehow. Whether it's a relationship or I don't feel it was a relationship per se. I feel like if it was a relationship thing, it was through all of the relationships I had this problem, and it's something within me I had to fix. So once I fix it, then I'm no longer going to either come across it in relationships or deal with it in relationships the same way, because we're healing through that. I feel like we got a lot of work here to go, but we're starting to uncover the right rocks to get the things we want. Like, I think in the past, we weren't looking under rocks for any of this stuff. We weren't looking in the right places, doing the right things, or attending to the right systems. We really may not have dealt with our emotional center at all. Now we are starting to do so because it's kind of like the universe pushed us. And not only that, our surroundings has brought us to a place where we have to feel something, because unfortunately the feeling I get here is there's a lot of tragedy around us, and we're having to deal with that. We can't just sit there motionless and not take it in. It's heavy stuff. Because of this, we are taking the time to heal, because there may be people around us that are in this mode, and it's like it's suddenly uncomfortable to not feel, is the sense I get. I don't know if our social circles have changed. I don't feel that. I just feel there's a lot of heavy stuff going on around that we can't be happy-go-lucky all the time. and we just have to deal. And part, in part, what I feel here is the Sag is really, it's like they don't want to take in the sadness 100%. They have something in there that they stick in there that it makes them, relieves them in some way. It's like a fantasy world, and all of my dreams and wishes, it's kind of like, okay, things aren't good now, but when I can, if I get this and that, da 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 da, in my future, it's like they're living in the future. And yeah, that's what I get. They're living in the future to help them deal with the now. Unfortunately, whatever. But they're giving me, it's like a quarter of them is dealing with the emotional, and it's a low. So who wants to stay there, right? You don't. But that's why it's called work, emotional work, because you gotta go in there, feel it, and release it, so it doesn't jumble us up. And maybe that's where we were. Maybe this is the beginning process for the Sagittarian to start dealing on an emotional level differently. This may be the first step. So it's the first time they tap into their emotions, so it's going to be rough. Okay, so anyway, 9 of Cups is in the center, so that's really given me the feel that we can accomplish, though the energy frequency, we do not feel it is correct at this time because it's low and da da da, but that does not mean that we can't accomplish things. And that's where our dream time is going. I mean, that usually is fueled by God themselves, the Christ consciousness. That's usually fueled by that. We don't want to live there, so we're completely deluded with reality. But we do, it's there. I feel like this person is trying to see the bright side of things. And their wishes and hopes and dreams are the bright side, but it's not here yet. So it's the in-between. And I feel like maybe this person doesn't really truly believe that they can get these things, but yet the universe is saying, well, let's not think about it if we can't get it. We got to think about things we can get. So we're going to go here now to the future. The Justice card is here. That always speaks to me about you give what you get what you give. So if we're giving and going outward and being caring and compassionate to others, which is what it's all about, during our journey of whatever, trying to attain our goals, if we are doing this in such a way, we will get this in such a way. If we are being nasty and using people and stomping all over, then this is what we're going to get here. This is the balance we're going to get. So depending on your karma bank, how have you treated others? How have you treated yourself? I feel like, again, they're not showing me too much of the past. All they're showing me is from this moment, I am going to start to heal. And that is a good vibrational investment. Going in there, trying to make it work. That's on the good line here. I feel like this person might have been way off before, and there might be a self-esteem ritual that they have that leads them to believe, I just can't get what I want, and giving up on it. But if you can imagine it and you can create scenarios in your head, and you don't have the faces and the bodies dissolving of these people, you can attain it. And it is something you can go forward to. But there is no action here. There's a lot of stagnant energy, and we're starting to fire up in the direction of seeing what we want. But, the future is where we hold the action. Now, the Justice will come having to do with any karma that you may have here. And I feel like that's directly related to what it is we have our eyes on. So let's go forward here as we move into the Metatron geometry cards here. The first card that we get on top of the Hierophant. Again, in the past, we might have had someone here who we deemed we had a high respect. We took what they said seriously, which we don't often do, is what they said. We don't take a lot of people's words seriously. And absolutely not consistently. May have one thing or here or there, but maybe we had nobody we could trust, is the sense that I get. This is what I'm getting. But this person, we put them through the mill, but we found out after they were gone that this was someone we could trust more than anyone in our life. Okay, so on top of that, Hierophant, because that's someone who has who can have boundaries. They can be very compassionate. Like, you think of a priest, be very forgiving. They can be very, whenever you need a friend, they're there. they have good advice. It's not just, I'm just saying something to pacify you. They're saying something because it's the advice that they would take in the same situation. And not many people do that. They always have an agenda or, do this because I want you to do it, not because it's something I would do. So there's that aspect I'm getting highly. Yeah, I feel like, this person is no longer here is the problem, I think. But nonetheless, the Hierophant on top of that energy, the geometry card we have is, whoa, Metatron's Cube. That is a good card. That's like your wild card. That kind of goes with everything. Give me a moment here. Yeah, we're transversing into a life of fulfillment. But it's something where we thought we were fulfilled in the past, but we realize now that we weren't. And the reason is because we were focusing on different things. And it may be that they're putting the word things in quotes. So we may have had a life where we have a lot of things, but not a lot of love, loyalty, and trust within people and that around us. Because they're really shooting me the trust factor here. Yeah, there's nobody I can, and still to this day, there's nobody other than maybe this person of the past that would have my back, is what they said. Someone has got my back? Nope. I'm very confident I don't have that in this day and age. So Metatron's Cube is here saying, first we got to trust ourselves, right? And I will tell you this. Energetically, you have been upgraded. Now, how far you resist that is how much of a challenge you'll have going forward. Basically, I think the only problem you can have is, I always say the ego is a problem. But if you're dealing with the core of yourself and you're starting to let that come outward, and you can handle that, and your ego can handle that, and you don't have to be right all the time, that you will be given all the tools here. And really, if you're able to give up to another, meaning if you're able to say there's somebody else is running my show here and I want to work in tandem with them, then you'll start to get somewhere. But if you're going to go about the universe with, once you're done your healing and going, I'm going to get what I want, and to a certain degree, yes, I get it's the wording, right? Yes, you go after what you want. You don't go after things you don't want. You don't go after things that make you angry. You go after things that make you happy and things that make you, all that. But beyond that, you have to also make room for that universal force to come in and help you, because they see the roadmap. You don't got the roadmap. They do. And if you can give up to that higher power, that would be. Now, I'm getting, again, a belief system here. It could be religion, could not be. It could just be, I don't believe in nothing up in there. And maybe we've been shown the way a little better. I don't know. But something's interrupted here. And because of that, now we think differently. And that's what we need to go forward correctly. And again, how much we buck that. And again, there's karma here a little bit. So what's going on? Metatron's Cube from the past is really a good sign. It shows that we always had the tools to do what we needed to do anyway, but we may have been in illusion because we believe we should be a certain way. And now we're realizing that way is not working. So we're changing things one by one, and this could set us on the right path to, as we move into the Nine of Cups, getting everything that we want, being fulfilled with happiness, not just on a surface level. So as we go on to the healing and the Nine of Cups, what do we get from the geometry cards? We get the color purple, royalty, nobility, and luxury. Now, this may be what we're after. We may want to feel like a queen or king up on our throne and royal and regal, and we want to be noted for it as such. I want to be known for, you respect me, da da da. But I feel like what they're dealing with now, there's no respect. There's a pretending to respect. There's a pretending to think of. But I think the Sag is realizing, yeah, these people are yes men to me. They're just saying yeah, but they have no scope because everybody's lied to them all this time. But they go, it's okay because, whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. But is it for your highest good to get everything that you want? It's not sometimes, right? As a kid, you can't just get everything you want, all the toys you want, because then you become selfish and greedy and, and this kind of thing. And if you can't teach the kid to earn things or they'll never respect those things. I'm having that problem with my son, actually. It's like you supply him with okay, so he wanted a new computer, right? So you supply him with all the elements, and good elements, by the way, not just talking little, dollar store microphones. We're talking good stuff, microphone, keyboard, wireless, all this stuff, decent stuff. And then if you go and wreck it, then it's your responsibility to replace that. And if you can't do that, then you're going to have to suffer and sacrifice until you can, And that's the thing. I'll give you the first layer, but after that, you got to do it on your own. This kind of, now I don't know if this is the game the universe playing with you. We'll give you your first card free, and after that, you have to work for it. I feel like the Sag has always had the tools they need to get what they want. But for some reason, and I feel like it has to do with a self-worth or there's something within the self they had to discover. It's the true self of who I am, the real self, the altruistic self. They had to get there and uncover that before the universe start cashing in on that. And again, there is a vague, I feel like just a light tinkling of karma left here, or karma playing out here, or whatnot. Now, royalty, nobility, and luxury. I think the Sag is wants to have a luxury. Like, everybody's got a different view of what luxury means to them, but they want to be in a luxurious place in their life. They want to be considered royalty, and they want to have noble people around them, and they want to be of noble stature. I feel that highly here. Interesting. And there was a block there because they weren't true of heart and soul. Like, when you go back to the king and queen's days, man, they were raw people. You knew, like, if I don't like you, you're dead, kind of thing. It's like, I mean, some of that still applies today, but, it's more removed. People play games more. They play with your emotions more. Everything's diluted, and nobody's real a lot of times. And so I feel like this is where the Sag is learning. Yeah, people aren't real. I got to find real people, blah, blah, blah. And this is, I think, what they're trying to gain. Not necessarily real people, but whatever it is that they want to accomplish in their life, they're going to accomplish it through this nobility, royalty, and luxury. I want to be of prestige, and I want to get what I want, and da-da-da. And they're entitled to do that. They just got to do it through their true self, and away they go. Okay, so in the future, again, we have our sights set on something here, a goal that we want to accomplish. The Justice is here to say that there may be some karma that needs to be worked out here, and there may also need to be some work put in, because I feel like we weren't always on the right side of the tracks here. So the Metatron card we get is the yin-yang law of balance and duality, and that's basically the Justice card again. So there may be a few passes here we have to go before we balance our life out. Now, in this Justice card, the scales are balanced. So we could have a Sag here that is released to a balanced future. Okay? I don't feel it's here now because I feel very uneasy about where I'm at. But yet, I have a goal I want to accomplish, and it's iffy. There's a big question mark there. Can I get what, with, I don't know. But the law and balance and duality is, again, another balance. It's the yin-yang symbol, so it's complete balance. So there is a sense here we can create it in the future. There's things that will help you align to that if you're willing to do the work. And I feel like this fire element, that's the action mode you need to be in. Because a lot of times we can have dreams in our head, and people think it'll just manifest and you just accept it, and it doesn't. You have to do the inner work of healing. Like, okay, say, oh man, like, okay, I'll give you a life example. My car, I was having problems with my car, so I had in the background, I was working and trying to put away money and, building up that account. And, every month it got a little bigger. I can get a $10,000 car. Okay, now I can get a $15,000. Okay, now I can get a $20,000 car. Okay, you know what I mean? And I kept looking, and And the thing is, I knew exactly what I wanted. And the funny thing is, too, I didn't get what I set out to get initially. Okay, I was looking for a Toyota Camry. I'm going raw here, but this will make sense because your goal is probably not a car, or it may be, or a house or something, but whatever it is, it wasn't what I initially set out to be. And actually it was better than what I initially set out to be. And because I was the FCOC, which is the Foreign Car Owners Club, I always drove a Honda or Toyota, and I didn't want to break that. And then suddenly this Lincoln come along, it just blew all these cars away, and the price couldn't be beat, so away I went. So it turned out to be, talk about luxury, right? I wasn't even looking in that field, but it come up on I just was looking, and I had the money, and I'm ready to go anytime. And mind you, we had to travel a few hours to get it, but it fell in my lap. And I was like, boom, this is way better than what I was even going after, this car, because it has all the bells and whistles I don't even know how to run it precisely. But do you get my drive? Like, I'm not trying to brag here, but how do you relate this? Well, the way I talk, I can't relate it unless I get a car story going. Then it's like, oh, it's grounded. Or a kid's kindergarten story. Then, oh yeah, I get that. Oh yeah, I can lay that over what I'm going through. This is what I'm saying. So somewhere here we have a goal. And somewhere between karma and our own self-healing, we will or won't gain this as we go forward, because there's things here we got to work out, and it's not that we may never ever gain it, but it may be different than what we initially planned for, and that is the law of balance. But it's for your highest good, right? It's for your highest good, and this is what they want you. And sometimes what we think we want is not the best thing for us. But we might have to go through a few rounds of that before we realize, okay, the ISIS card, as I just give away my life story here. Oh, yay. The ISIS card that we get on top of the pillar of light, descent of the star of Isis. Yeah, the pillar of light is upon you. It is trying to ascend you, and it is slowly, step by step, we're making progress, is what they said. We're making progress. It's slow, but it's upwards. And we're not, we may go back and step in, but we realize we got to keep going forward. And our goal here in the future is forward motion. We are looking, we got a target, and we're going after it. And the pillar of light, again, is there to guide you. So you can't, this is really good. This would be the positive sphere here, Sag. I don't see anything wrong with this reading. It's just a matter of slow going. The sense they're giving me is we really could be a lot faster and go a lot. But again, we only go at the speed we can absorb it all through. And for whatever reason, we just want to keep it in, like a walking mode. We don't want to be trotting or even jogging. We just want to keep it slow. Which isn't a bad thing. And if that's what you need, that's what you need. And away you go. So, Sag, that is your spirituality reading for the season of spring of 2025. So take care, have fun, and be kind.